up here on the very, very beautiful. What do you call this rock, Shay? Is this Coolnagad? Is it Kindletown Wood? Is it
Coolnagad, yeah.
But this actual rock now, would there be a name for it, or do people just generally refer to it? You're saying
Well,
Coolnagad means back of the hill.
It means back of the hill, all the land to the back. It'll be called back of the hill. Irish name. Coolnagad.
I saw on a map now, I just looked it up before we came here, that it stretches, it's about just over half a mile square from what would be now Temple Carrick School back to here. Is kind of regarded as Coolnagad.
Coolnagad.
Yeah.
And local people names that, you know.
Yeah. But there are names like that, Ballydunna, Stylebond, that are not necessarily kind of villages or towns, but they're areas.
And as I say, down in Black Lion now.
Yeah.
Black Lion. I in Irish, I think, in old maps, there's old maps and they were changed into English. And it means the Leinster way.
Okay.
That's what it means, the Leinster way.
It is amazing the amount of different words. Now the reason we came here, now we want to talk about two spots. They're almost like identical in that they're both viewing rocks really. I'd always regard this as a place to go and look at the view.
A lot of people walk
but also
now.
The Octagon, which I don't know what you call that ruin. I've seen different names for I always call it the Octagon, the hexagonal kind of would say
well, an octagon means 8-sided figure.
I know, but the actual building I'm talking about, I refer to it as the Octagon, but is there a real name for it that people...
No, everyone knows it as the Octagon. Octagon.
There you go.
Octagon.
You're very good at pronouncing that name.
It was a tea room, I think, wasn't it? And,
right.
I think this area was an old Bronze Age.
This area here?
Yeah, this area was Bronze Age settlement.
Okay.
So we're going back 3,000 years.
So you're talking about there were people living in this area called Coolnagad. It was like its own little community, little village.
Well, they would have had it further from the stone.
Right.
And then over the centuries, I'd say, was the view rock for the Vikings, etc. You know?
Yeah, well, any vantage point like this is going to be regarded.
Well, the trees have grown up, so you would have been observing right down the coast into Wicklow from here.
Sure, well, I can quite
a lot
easily
of people
recall, in my own time now, you'd see the full view of Newcastle and all that from here.
Yeah.
There's definitely been, even just in the last 10 years or 15 years, there's been a difference in the growth.
But there's a lot of people now, it's a walkway now, and here to here. Sure. And a lot of people know it now and observe gravestones.
Sure, I know it's very popular. Of course it's very popular, but would you say this had any kind of significance when you mentioned...
Well, you see, Dublin comes out to here, the old maps. This is Kinglan's Town.
Right.
And the map of Dublin, I think the 9th or the 12th century would have come as far as here, right down. Okay. This was Dublin.
Right.
This was Dublin. Gotcha. The area of Dublin.
Ah, okay.
And there was a landlord called Kingsley.
Okay.
And he got the rent off the settlers at the time.
Right.
I forget which century now, because it was going back hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
But Kingsley was his name.
And would this have been, because we're so close, would have this been a part of the Bellevue kind of estate? You know, I don't know if the Latouches would have had a...
No, Latouches would be back behind us.
Yeah, but given that it's at one of their gates, I wonder whether they actually owned any of this as well, because they certainly owned an awful lot of the land around here. Consider the village and the Octagon Wood and all the rest.
Well, over the years they bought land down towards Greystones.
Right.
They bought land.
Do you think this might have been outside of their...
Well, it wouldn't have been functional for them because of rock.
Right. Well, you see, the function is often just that it's recreational. It doesn't have to be that they're going to build on it.
I suppose it was one of their walkways, but their gates itself stops down at the bottom of the forestry.
Car park for here.
That was the Dublin gates. They call them the Dublin gates.
Well, as I said, now this is sort of, to me now, it's like bookends. You've got this viewing rock on this particular side of if you're driving up from past the legendary Dick Joyce's up from the village, but you go left up past the Bellevue kind of estate into the Octagon itself. That's another great kind of viewing spot that people aim for as a high point.
That's a laneway called Balladunna Lane.
Okay, Balladunna. Okay.
Balladunna, and it brings you down to the Glen.
Right, so you keep going straight, you get back down to the Glen.
Back down. There's several houses and farms on it, privately owned.
Right.
You know, there used to be a man there. He used to go to church every Sunday. He used to come down and walk on evening service in Delgany.
Right.
Doyle, I think his name was.
Okay. Now, I'm always fascinated by the Octagon in that, obviously it's got, the rooms down below. They're well covered. You've got this great big viewing area up at the top, and this is half hexagonal kind of wall is still left there. I mean, can you sort of see that was purely a summer house, almost like let's step out to the Octagon and have tea
room and a viewing point on behalf of the Latouches and their friends, I'd say.
Right.
They brought. But someone told me too there was a hunting lodge. They stored weaponry.
Okay.
I wouldn't be 100% about that.
This is quite well. Certainly now, and it
Where
seems to be
these-
there for a while. It's quite, you could lock it up pretty easily. I mean, it certainly has been for quite a while. I know that.
I think that was a thatched cottage at one
Okay.
time. The octagon itself, because there
Right.
was a lady in Greystones called Mrs. French,
Okay.
and she showed me a painting of the
Is she related to
octagon.
Robert French or any of those guys, or Percy French? Do you know? Or
No, she lived on Church Road in Greystones, but
Okay.
she had a painting of the octagon,
right.
and it was thatch.
Okay.
Thatch.
It's like a two-story. Building,
Yeah.
so it's a two-story kind of thatch.
And then
wow.
the one down in the glen where the car park is,
Yeah.
that particular the thatched cottage was there. People from town would come out of a Sunday on side carts and
Right.
have afternoon tea in that
Oh, so
place.
it's tea room. Yeah, we have nice pictures
Tea
of it,
room.
actually.
My
Yeah, it's a
mother
lovely spot.
remembers as a young girl. She used
I
to
didn't
tell
go
me
for-
that she remembers the side carts and people would
Nice.
travel from Dublin out and have afternoon tea in
And
the summer months. You
I
know.
know too that there was a fireplace in the octagon, so obviously it probably was roofed at some point, because you wouldn't really go to the bother of a chimney operation for an outdoor, just purely outdoor. Because
Well,
there is at one point there's remains of. This is on the upstairs sort of open part of the octagon.
Yeah, well, the viewing point there is
Yeah.
beautiful. You know,
Oh,
as
yeah.
you look right across the valley, and then as we know, it's the oldest forestry in Europe.
I
One of
didn't
the
know that.
the trees that they're not
Wow.
man planted. So the Glen of the Downs is one of the last remaining old forestries,
kind of forest,
natural
yeah.
forestries within Europe. You know.
Nice. I didn't
So,
realise that.
oh yeah, well, that's why the controversy with the eco warriors that time to save it,
Right.
preserve it, and the road going through the Glen of the Downs. That must be 15, 20 years ago now.
Right. Were you part of the protest? I don't know if you made it up.
No,
know
but
you, Doc Brown, son,
I
was there,
I
and-
took nobody's sides because
Well,
everyone.
you're a lazy bugger. That's mainly.
No,
you try not
because
to take
no,
sides,
well,
but
like
there's activity and work
well,
and-
they won in the end, but the road went through anyway, one way or
So
the
who
other.
won exactly? I'm not sure then.
Yeah, but there was a lot of controversy over it and a mix-up on both behalves. But
Sure.
it was on the map anyway.
Well, the
to
main
be.
thing is you didn't do your bit anyway.
I
that's good
was
to know.
with them, yeah. I
Yeah, oh,
went
you were
down.
with them,
Oh,
alright.
I dropped
Oh,
in
right.
for a drop of tea on
Dropped in for
many
the evening, was
occasions.
any sort of
yeah.
party or music going on?
But it was interesting. It was nice of them to do it. They alerted the people. They kind of woken up people
Sure.
that
sure.
to save forestry is part of nature and that.
Yeah.
But that's one of the oldest forestries now within Europe, I think.
Yeah.
So it has its history of a
No.
natural forest, you
Oh, it's a
know.
beautiful spot.
Then there's
Yeah.
parts up in Roundwood as well that has old forestry.
Of course. Well,
So
yeah. There
people
yeah,
have to
yeah.
be respectable of it, you know. They have to respect
Sure.
them, you know.
Sure. Yeah. Not to
Nature.
off-litter, not be an asshole. There's certain
Well,
rules you have to
nature's a
stick by.
powerful thing. It's great to see things that last so long, you know.
Sure, like yourself.
Well,
Now-
Glendalough has a period of not being developed too much either. It has that
of course, there's a great
magical
preservation
touch.
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, we
Saint
should
Kevin.
just in regard to we picked today because I was told it was going to be sunny. You can see the sun is really splitting the skies today, but you know, Coolnagat itself, it is a lovely spot. It is very popular. I think
Yeah.
on a good summer's day, you'll just a constant kind of flow of a pilgrimage up here. Almost, it could be our.
Well, a lot of people use it now. People in
Patrick.
Greystones and local people with their kids. It's a nice.
yeah.
It's not too long of a walk and it's short. You know.
Sure. Well, you had to stop 3 times. You were out of breath.
Well then I was meditating.
Oh, you were
on the way.
meditating, that's what it was. Lovely children. Well, very nice. We'll get some images too. I mean, Coolnagat have a lovely painting of it, and we'll. Yeah. No, and that has its own history. It's a great area. Nicely done, young Shay.